Okay, welcome to the first of all of the Gemini horoscopes. Okay, so, half of these are going to be made online, where I'm going to be looking at the chart and what the, what the placements for, whatever is in, Sun, Moon, Mars, Venus, Mercury, all of that. Then I'll be talking about the combination here, which I'll be posting on my channel through the Gemini horoscope playlist. So, May 20th and 21, Sun is in Gemini. We have entered Gemini. We are leaving the grounded and stable and very, very sensual, steady, and slow bull, and we're moving into, the always needing to be stimulated, impulsive with its being social twins. And so it's a sign behind, and you have air and earth, a positive and a negative sign, and two right next to each other, both in May. And this is on the cusp. And if you were born on May 20th, then that would be considered born on a cusp, where you would either be one sign Taurus or the other sign Gemini, or you would have the finest combination of Taurus and Gemini. So cusps are a very, very tricky time to be born. And you really need to look at your chart and see where the sun is in, because year after year, dates can change a little bit, although remaining mostly consistent for most of the dates of those seasons. 1 year can either be Taurus or Gemini. But anyway, so sun represents the ego, the personality, vitality, all of those things. It is the sign in which, it is the sign in which you were born. For example, I was born under an Aries sun, so I would be, my sun is an Aries, which, the sun feels comfortable in any sign, but the sun and the moon, as well as all the other planets, have ruling signs. So the sun feels very, very comfortable in air, and particularly fire signs, so very, very comfortable in Aries, but the sun rules Leo. And as you know, the sun takes up the whole entire sky. At that time of year, there's most sunlight, and shining down the farthest. And with Leo, there's an exuberance and a radiance, and also a generosity that the sun gives off. That bright and bold vitality, really, that I talked about earlier. So the sun just moved into Gemini, and when you move from one sign to the next, they do share a little bit of similarities, but they're very, very different. And may I remind you that we have a little bit of each and every sign within ourselves, and those 12 signs, are what makes us, and there's certain lessons that can be learned from all the 12 signs. And with the sun in Gemini, the lesson is to, it's like Aries, but Aries is impulsive with its movements and its, temperament, and it's, fit in the physical body. But air makes the fire grow. And Gemini is the same. It's like the air child. Gemini is the air child, and the lesson is to let yourself just to be free to say whatever you want. Learn about, read about, be with, and be free to explore and get out and meet people and read books and talk and teach. All of these are very Gemini things, and Gemini is mutable air, which is the last of every season, the last of the end of spring, right before we get into coochie Cancer. And mutable is a very changeable sign because it needs constant stimulation from one thing to another thing. And Deborah Silverman's sun sign is in Gemini, by the way. And her moon sign is my sun sign, and I already said. But we'll talk about that combination when we get there. But so Sun in Gemini, Moon in Taurus. The moon represents the emotion. It represents kind of the internal, hidden. It's bright and it's quiet. And the moon represents Cancer. It is represented by Cancer, which is as we know, and we'll talk all about Cancer, which is the most emotional zodiac sign. Leo rules the lion, Cancer rules the crab. Most emotional zodiac sign. Very, very sensitive, comforts, staying inside your house, all of these types of Cancerian things. But we'll get to the, that flavor of Cancer when time comes. By the way, Cancer and Taurus, one of the best pairings of two zodiac signs you can ever think of to pair. But so anyway, with the Taurus moon, it is stabilizing and grounding the Gemini. The Gemini, always wants to move on. Has something, and then immediately when it loses interest, it goes on to something else. Taurus is very, very different than that. Likes its comfort. Likes stability and security and structure and consistency. It doesn't like a whole lot of change. It likes to it stays on something for a long time. When it makes decisions, it's very pondering and takes it very unlightly and very critically and considers it very importantly and deeply. And so the lesson of Taurus is sensuality and structure and the same, and you don't need a lot to be happy, really. And so Gemini wants to move on from one thing to the next. Taurus can ground the Gemini, saying, just focus on something you like, and then you can stick to it. And adding more sensuality and getting into the same, creating a routine and saneness for the Gemini. So, very, very interesting combination. It's going to be a double Gemini sky and a dark sky the next time I come and talk to you. Thank you.